So hello guys, welcome back. So in this lecture, we are going to learn about class and ID. Okay, so what is a class and ID is about. So in the last lecture, you have seen you have differentiated between this P and this P in the CSS file, right? Footer space P and article space P. So how to differentiate between this P and this P, the P in 21st line and P in 22nd line. So here comes the ID and class. Okay, so how to differentiate between both of them. So let's first discuss about ID. Okay, so here please note that it do not reflect any original website. Okay, or will not affect the copyrights of any company. Okay, so here you can specify an ID. Okay, so space ID equals, you can give some name to this ID. Suppose here um, you give matter. Okay, some name, or just give warning. Okay, so IDs in CSS file are represented by hashtag. Okay, hash. Okay, so in the recent technical terms we are calling it as hashtag, so it's hash. So go to CSS file, and here you can have hash, and what's the name of the ID? Warning. So warning. Here you can write color is red. Okay, and yeah, now I just want to comment this, how to comment in a CSS file. This is how we do comment. Okay, we'll close the comment by this. Fine. So this is the commenting style: forward slash star star forward slash. So now save this, and now you can reload this and can see that this line is in red color. So this is the use of ID. You can specify ID for anything, and I want these two classes, I mean these two P's. Okay, the P, which is Apple, is a well reputed company, and P, reasons to use Apple products. So these two P's in the green color. So here, instead of ID, I have to use class. I'll say why I'm using class in a moment. Now the class name would be, suppose you can give mat note. Okay, here also with the same name you can give the class equals note. For both of them I'll give the green color. Okay, so go to style.css, and for class you have to use dot. Okay, dot note, and here you can see color should be green. Fine. So just save this, and you can reload this, and you can see both have been changed to green. Okay, again I'm saying you should not use the colors like this. Okay, I will let you know how to use the color codings in a class or two, in a lecture or two, but for now I'm just using it for your understanding. Fine. So since both of these paragraphs are denoted with the same class name, okay, so whenever I make any changes in CSS for this note class, the same will be reflected to both the paragraphs. So here, instead of using ID, I have used class. So what's the difference between class and ID? Both class and ID are same. Okay, the only difference is ID, the ID name should be represented only once. Okay, but the class name can be uh, used multiple times. Do you understand that? So ID equals warning. I should not use this warning again for any other representation. Okay, but for the class we can use this class n number of times. Suppose here there is another p, I can use this class name as note again. Okay, we can use n number of times. I'll save it and I'll rerun this. It will also get into green color. I'll erase this. So you can use the class multiple times, but you cannot use the id equals warning again. Okay, you can only use id once. Okay, instead of warning I'll give id equals copy, suppose the name. Okay, so this copy should not be used again in the whole HTML. Okay, so this copy should be okay. Here you should not use warning because you already used warning once. So if it is class you can use warning twice, but if it's id you cannot use the warning twice. This is copy, and if you want to write the copy, the color now can be aqua. Fine, so you can reload this. You can see that it's changing to aqua. Fine, so I'll remove this copy. So this is the basic difference between class and a id. Okay, so you came to know, right? id should be used only once. Okay, but class can be used multiple times. Fine, so yeah, that's the basic difference between class and an object, and everything comes to normal, and that is where we need to use. Okay, and again the color coding should not be used like this. There is some other representation for this and I'll be explaining you in a little while. So this is the basic understanding of class and id, and it's very important to represent. Okay, you take any HTML code, any combination of HTML and CSS, there you will see if it's a large web page, you can see that there are many id and classes. Okay, so practicing id and class is many, I mean more important. You keep it in mind that you need to practice more in order to get the perfection. Okay, so create like remember all the concepts from the starting. Create a web page, a beautiful looking web page. Create it by using all the knowledge you have gained until now, and you try to use the id and classes on them so that you will get more like confidence. Okay, so that's it guys for this lecture. I have explained id and classes for now. So in the next lecture I will be explaining you about colors. Okay, how to work with colors. So let's meet up in the next lecture.